This next performer, it says here, just signed a 2-year contract with Warner Brothers. I know, sorry, it's Time Warner Cable. He switched internet providers. And that's good because cable modems are really fast. Please welcome Mark Wooster.
Hi. This is entitled Love and Death and an iPhone. I went to a funeral recently. That's how to start a funny story. But this funeral was not a tragic event. It was for a woman who had lived a long life and passed peacefully. Indeed, there were only about 10 people at the funeral because she had outlived all her friends. When the emotional eulogies began, I realized they had to be saved for posterity, and I whipped out the iPhone. The biggest cult in America is not some weird religion or polygamous compound. It is the cult of Apple. Millions of people worship at the altar of the late Steve Jobs and think Apple can do no wrong. These people apparently have never tried to record video on an iPhone. The following is the foolproof, yes I just used air quotes, method that the geniuses at Apple have designed to indicate when the iPhone video camera is recording and when it is paused. When recording, there's a bright red blinking dot. When paused, the dot is slightly less bright red and doesn't blink. That's it. That's the difference. They have also made sure that in sunlight, the screen is virtually invisible. And the funeral is being held outside on a sunny day in beautiful Chatsworth, California. You try figuring out how bright an almost invisible red dot is. Of course, you know the result. I successfully recorded scattered shots of gravestones, funeral wreaths, and an open cemetery plot. As I walked back and forth, trying to get the best possible vantage point, where I could stand for 10 minutes at a time, carefully aiming a paused iPhone at a eulogist who thought her words were being saved for eternity. Unfortunately, the only beings with a chance of seeing these eulogies again are lip-reading aliens from a distant star system who can figure a way to view the light beams emanating from our tiny planet. If they do so, they will see some very touching speeches. Everyone talked about how much they loved the deceased, what a great mother she was, a great sister, a great grandmother. Even my usually impassive heart was moved. And it got me thinking, why do we always say these things after people have passed away? We need to say it to our loved ones now, so they know it. I don't usually project an image of a lovey-dovey, touchy-feely kind of guy, even within my own family. In fact, no one in my family does. Don't get me wrong, my mother, father, sister, and I all love each other. I'm pretty certain. We just don't say it too often. The last time I remember all of us saying we loved each other was never. But I decided it was time to change. Make sure my parents knew my wonderful feelings about them. As I strained to see the eulogies on my washed-out screen, I began planning the heart-rending moment I would share with my parents. I would praise their parenting skills, state my great love for them. They would declare their love for me, tears would fall, and they'd tell all their friends, who would then think I was the best son ever. And they'd berate their children for never saying they love them. You know you've done a truly good deed when it makes others feel inferior. Since I live in LA and my parents live in Florida, this heart-wrenching scene could not occur in person, unless I wanted to wait months until my yearly visit to their house, and time was of the essence. I had waited 50 years to say this. A mere phone call could not convey my true emotion. Plus, I would not be able to see the tears well up in their eyes. There was an obvious solution, but it would require me to employ another Apple advanced technology that is really part of its plot to destroy humanity. FaceTime. For those of you who are unaware, FaceTime is the iPhone app that allows you and someone else with an iPhone to engage in a video call. That's right, a video call. In other words, a phone call in which the other person actually sees you. Everyone knows that when you talk to a parent on the phone, that's the perfect time to catch up on the mail, surf the internet, watch a game, complete any number of tasks, all the while throwing in the occasional, that's interesting, or what a jerk. FaceTime has screwed all this up, and is the only advanced feature in the iPhone my father has figured out how to use. After 2 days of my explaining to him how to connect the iPhone to his Wi-Fi. All right, Dad, first hit the settings button. It's right on the first screen. It's the one that says settings. Yes, you have a settings button. All iPhones have one. Okay, now hit Wi-Fi. Now type in the security code. The code you just told me you had. Okay. No, the phone's not broken. If you try to hit J that says H, just move your finger a little over to the left. No, a pencil won't work. You have to use your finger. Okay, try the pencil. See? But we got there. So now when he calls me morning, noon, or night to complain about a politician, a basketball coach, or his car repair, you can see me and I actually have to pay attention. God forbid my eye wanders anywhere away from the screen. Or I get, are you listening? What did I just say? But now FaceTime would actually prove useful. I would see those tears well up in their eyes, God damn it. And who cares what it costs? You can't put a price on love. But FaceTime calls are free. So that very night, I hit the complex combination of icons on my iPhone screen, listened to the teeny little false ring, and waited until my dad's face appeared. I was in luck. He was seated. For some reason, my father thinks that FaceTime is best used when he is on the move. So whenever he FaceTimes me, I get a disorienting view of my father's face as he motors from room to room, the different ceiling tiles in his house flying behind him. The experience is not unlike those scenes from old movies. The characters sit in half a car, while obviously fake moving images of traffic are projected on a screen behind them. I was also glad it was my father who answered, because at night, my mother tends to take out her hearing aid, which means when I talk to her, she has to move the iPhone next to her ear, give me a close-up view of her ear canal. Analyzing her earwax would not have fitted well with the outpouring of emotion soon to come. I could see my parents seated side by side in their matching recliners, in front of their new, big 3D flat-screen TV, on which they have not watched a single 3D program. After a quick hello, I got right to the point. Dad, I said, I went to a funeral today, and I realized they should tell people what you feel about them when they're alive, not when they're gone. So I just wanted to say, you guys have always been really great parents, and I love you very much. My father's brow furrowed slightly. His mouth opened just a smidge, making him look as if he'd taken a bite of food and suddenly wasn't sure what it was. He turned to my mother. He says we've been really great parents, and he loves us very much. My mother replied, who? Mark! Why? All right, I said, I'll talk to you later. I'm sure they burst into tears right after I hung up. Or at least after the late local news.